Hello everyone, welcome to Fast FPL with me, Spear. We're up to match day 3. It's been a cracking tournament so far, and I'm going to go through the best picks for match day 3 in isolation because we have an unlimited transfer allocation for match day 4. So everything you're going to see today is based upon one fixture going forward. And if you see picks in yellow, it means that that player plays for a team which is already through to the knockout stages, so is at risk of rotation. If they have a star, it means they're at even greater risk of rotation, either due to the state of their team or due to the fact that they're going through as well. Okay, without further ado, let's get on with the goalkeepers. I'm sure most of you are already set on your goalkeepers for the last match day, but some of you might be on Limitless. Some of you may not have anything to do elsewhere, so you want to focus on these. If not, then skip to the defenders. As you can see, the goalkeeper list is similar to last week, really, or similar to last match day. Pickford remains at the top. I do think Southgate is a very negative manager. We've all seen that many, many times over the years. It's carried on into this tournament. If England go 1 or 2, definitely if they go 2 up, he's going to sit back again. So Pickford, 5 million, still a really good pick, even with his goal conceded to Denmark in the last game. He still managed to get 4 points. Okay. Mike Maignan comes in next, and France actually play under Deschamps. Very similar to Southgate. Very tournament, boring, pragmatic football. I don't even know if I would call Southgate style pragmatic, to be honest with you. But yeah, I again think that they're good for a clean sheet. The Poland side, Lewandowski's still carrying an injury. They don't look that great. And France, one of the strongest teams in the tournament. We're going to sort of a next tier down here. Casteels. You know, Belgium don't look the best still at the back. They do look a little vulnerable. And Ukraine do look decent going forward. But Casteels at 5 million for a Belgian side that has to win. If they win, they go through. If they lose, I'm pretty sure they might be knocked out. So they really need to win that game. And the last one there is Verbruggen, who finally has a decent fixture against Austria. And the Netherlands actually look really assured at the back and generally look a lot better than what I previously thought they were going to look like going into the tournament. Diego Costa, for Portugal. A phenomenal pick still, but my issue here is the manager, Roberto Martinez, could give one of the reserve keepers a run out because it's Georgia and Portugal are already through. So I'm a little cautious there. If you still have him, that's fine. But if you're on Limitless or need a keeper, I wouldn't go for him right now. The last 3 are your best cheapos to rotate with one of the expensive ones. Should you need a cheapo keeper, like you say, if you still have Moldovan or something like that, okay? So Nita for Romania, of course, has Slovakia at home. I think he has the best fixture, but the worst defense. Stanek in the best defense of the cheapos. But against arguably the best attack, almost fluid attack in Turkey. And Rajkovic against Denmark, against probably the strongest team, but maybe not the best attack in a decent defense. So it really depends upon who you need on what day for that keeper. More exciting stuff then. A long, long list of defenders for you here. And as you can see, a lot of it has really changed since the last video. Let's go through the key picks first. The ones in green that I'm highlighting today, again, mean that it's a strong fixture for a strong team playing for something. If they don't have the green, doesn't mean they're a bad pick, but maybe not as premium. Theo Hernandez comes right back to the top of the list. Poland at home for a France team that are very defensive. Hernandez, very attacking defender, as you can see from the XGI per 90 stats up there. I'll show you here. Watch this. There you go, up here. Yeah, and also Denzel Dumfries as well. As you can see, the best attacking stats of any defender in my list today for your defensive recommendations. I think he's nailed personally. He's just too solid and just too good at right back for them to drop him now. And Netherlands look really good as a team, as a unit. Haven't looked the best going forward, but defensively very astute. Austria at home. Again, Austria look really good, but I do think Netherlands are the stronger team. And with Dumfries, the nice thing about it is if you're watching the game and Austria score a goal, Dumfries could easily still get a return because of how much he he attacks for both his international and club sides. Okay, but maybe not the best for a clean sheet. The next three here are better for a clean sheet, but as you can see, significantly worse for expected goal involvement. So there is a bit of a drop off here. Mark Gay, I think he's still got 5 points despite conceding to Denmark. He probably deserved player of the match as well. 4.5 at home to Slovenia. In a very defensive Gareth Southgate side. The only thing not to like is the fact that he has no goal threat. Jules Koundé is a debutant in this list. Really a recovery machine, playing right back, so he could get some returns, though he's a very defensive right back. You know, more threatening than Gay and Fass, but still playing in a strong side. And speaking of him, Wout Fass, against Ukraine, probably the weakest of that 5, but only 4 million and nailed on. Will have a decent amount of recoveries. The next up in the list is a 5-man list of yellows with asterisks as well to boot. What does this mean, I hear you ask, that I haven't already said already? This means that they're playing for teams in Germany, Spain and Portugal who are already through. So there is a massive chance of rotation. So if you pick any of my yellow picks here, that's at your own risk, okay? I actually welcome complaint comments in future videos that you picked one of them, or that you just want to vent because it helps the videos. Any sort of comment helps the videos. But yeah, it's not on me. I'm telling you right now, these are rotation risks because they're already through. Okay, some of the teams may want to keep that fluidity and momentum and will retain a lot of the starting lineup, but others will want to rest because it's they've got the opportunity to give fresh legs for the knockouts now. I especially think Tar might be at risk for a Schlotterbeck run out. Cucurella will be at risk for a Grimaldo run out, and Daniel Carvajal will be at risk from Jesus Navas at right back. João Cancelo, Dalot and Mendes can both take his positions. So yeah, there is risk across the board. Mittelstadt, as you can tell, is probably the least at risk because he's by far the best left back for Germany, in my opinion. The other reason that the 2 Germans are at the top of the list is because they're in the first kickoff, so you will know, hopefully before kickoff, whether they're starting or not. If they're not starting, you can take them out. If they are starting, great, you can look elsewhere in your team. Hence why they're at the top of this list. So if you are going to be active on the app or on the website around about that time, then just keep them in and see how it goes. If not, I can understand people just not risking it because you can't revolve your life around these deadlines. Speaking a little bit more detail about each one of these, I do think Mittelstadt is the better of the 2 German picks because of his attacking threat, which is really good. Tar is better for recoveries and slightly better for goal threat. But as I said, more at risk of rotation. Cucurella, amazing for recoveries this tournament and really cheap. Pretty threatening as well for Spain. But big risk for rotation now that they're already through, especially with Grimaldo really pushing for a run out. If I was the Spain manager, I would be playing Grimaldo to give yourself an alternate route forward. The same with Dani Carvajal as well. I do worry at his age, they might just give a run out for Jesus Navas. There, but Carvajal I think is one of the top point scorers in the game right now, but that is kind of skewed by his very rare goal for Spain. João Cancelo, of all those picks, the most threatening, and in my opinion, even playing for a team which could be vying even more so than Spain and Germany for the gold for the championship of this Euros, but he's at the most risk of rotation. The nice thing about this Spain and Portugal picks is that they play Albania and Georgia, who are very, very weak teams. And that's no disrespect to them. I really want to see them do well. But if you can find someone from those teams, i.e. Spain or Portugal, playing in that fixture, then fantastic. The German fixture isn't as good. Switzerland will be really up for it. Local rivals, and Switzerland can still go through. So they'll be really, really up for it. So that's why there's a lot of risk around all those yellow picks. The last picks on the list there are picks from significantly weaker teams, but they're nailed on. So we've got David Hansko, we've got Ratio, and we've got Hranak at the bottom as well. for Slovakia, Romania, and Czechia, respectively. David Hansko has a lot of threat, and Ratio, we saw him bomb forward, though he doesn't have as much quality, maybe. Yeah, Hranak, significantly worse threat than the other three, but better XGC per 90 for his team as a whole. So if you need some cheapies, they're there. I wouldn't necessarily bother, but I know that some of you may need the funds somewhere, right? So they are there. But when you pick someone from those weak teams, even if they've got a strong fixture, remember it's a coin toss really with those sorts of fixtures. People missing from my list that I haven't mentioned that I'll probably get comments on. And please, if I missed anyone, put a comment in. If you're ever wondering, should I put a comment on Spears' video, definitely do it, because it always helps me out anyway, whether it's positive or negative. I welcome it all. Di Marco for Italy. If he had a good fixture, he'd be a brilliant pick, but he has an awful fixture. Croatia is an awful fixture. I don't like that fixture. Can Italy keep a clean sheet? Sure, they can. Can Di Marco provide a lot of threat? Sure, he can. But I just don't like the fixture, and Croatia will be up for it. Trent Alexander-Arnold is the other one. I still think he's at risk for rotation after Gareth Southgate's very strange Calvin Phillips comments. So I do worry that he might get rotated. But those are two high ceiling picks in DeMarco and Trent that aren't on my list, but are very viable picks if you want to take that risk. Midfielders. This is where I think personally, in goalkeepers and defense for Matchday 3 is actually quite easy to pick from, and there's a lot of strong picks. Midfield and attack is actually very limited. There's only 4 key picks for me here across the midfield and attack, and then the rest is up to you. Hence why I've given you a lot of variation, a lot of choice. Kevin De Bruyne is so advanced and so threatening. His club stats are incredible. In my opinion, the best attacking midfielder in the world, at least from a central positioning point of view. I would love to see him at a different club than Man City to see how he does, and to see someone else free him up a little bit to play more, you know, with more freedom. Yeah, so Kevin De Bruyne, he could have had more today. He could have had more. He could have easily had another assist, maybe another goal. I think he's got player of the match as well. I'm just recording this as the match is finishing, but I think he's also got player of the match by the sounds of it. Amazing pick, so he should be in everyone's team. Bruno Fernandes. So he has the yellow on him, i.e. Portugal are through, so there's a risk of rotation because they're through. But Fernandes is the most important player for Portugal by far. So it's difficult to say. Will he play? I assume so. But he could be on for a very rare rest for Bruno Fernandes. I mean, the fixture in the team, Portugal against Georgia, Fernandes being one of the top players in qualifying and remaining one of the top players at this tournament, there's nothing much not to like. So if you have him, I'd keep him. There's just that very small risk because Portugal are through, that's all. Hence, there's no star, but there is a yellow highlight on him. Dominic Szoboszlai comes back into the list here. Against Scotland, both teams will be pushing for a win here. I think it'll be quite an open game at some point in the game, even if it doesn't start off that way. Both defenses poor. Yeah, I really, really like the Dominic Szoboszlai pick this week. I might be trying to fit him in my UEFA team and my fan teams. Next in the list is the man who some of you may have seen my tweet that I posted and deleted because I was so annoyed by it. But I was like, no one will hear me complain about this, so I'll just delete it. But I know some of you will have seen it. The Ilkay Gundogan transfer I did last week, so I was on Wildcard and took him out, even though I had him and picked him and recommended him in all my videos and had him in all my fan teams. Some unknown reason, I took him out and put Florian Wirtz in. Silly decision. Don't do things like that. Don't do things like that. Minutes matter in games. The importance of a player to a team also matters in fantasy because that means that we'll get more minutes and we'll be more involved in play. Gundogan, one of the top point scorers this week, and I took him out. This match day 3, we will see whether he's in the starting lineup. If he is, then he's an incredible pick. If he's not, then obviously he's a terrible pick and he would be nowhere near this list. So the reason he's so high is because we can see before the deadline whether he's in the starting lineup. So if he is, great, he's even worth a transfer in. If he's not, get rid of him. Okay. Christian Eriksen. His stats here on screen are his club stats for Manchester United, and he plays a very withdrawn role for Manchester United. For Denmark, he has incredible stats in qualifying and right now in the tournament too. He should have even more points than he has. I had him match day 1 and then transferred him out for match day 2, which worked out fine. But Christian Eriksen against Serbia. My only issue with this one is twofold, really. First of all, as a footballer, he's getting on a bit, so he'll need his minutes managing a little bit. Otherwise, based upon his quality, he'd play 90 minutes, just his stamina. And then the fixture, Serbia are a very tall side, so normally his set pieces would be very threatening in terms of allowing for assists, but they're a very tall side, so I worry a little bit about that. He actually is still a prime target for me, or one of them, maybe not the top one, but very, very decent pick. Also, I really like picking players from games where I wouldn't be watching that much, or I'm not too interested in. But if I have a talisman playing, I'll be very interested in it. And he backs all the stats, etc. But I do worry for the height of Serbia and his minutes a little bit. Scott McTominay comes in next, another Manchester United player. Easily Scotland's most threatening player. And way outperforms his XGI, as you can see there. Scored in the last game against, a Hungary team that doesn't look that great defensively. I don't think he's as good a pick as anyone above him, but he will be on for 90 minutes. That's why he's above the players below him. Speaking of the players below him, little Pedri for Spain should play a decent amount of minutes because Rodri is banned. He's done his classic and got another booking. They play Albania, one of the weakest teams in the tournament, and Spain, one of the strongest teams in the tournament. And in terms of their form right now, even stronger as well. He's not the most attacking player ever, Pedri, but he should get more minutes because of the Rodri ban. There will be rotation, though, hence why there's a big star and the yellow highlight. Nico Williams plays more advanced for Spain and is more of a goal threat, but I worry for his minutes even more than Pedri's. He was already getting hooked early, even before Spain were through. So those are big minutes risk picks, especially Williams. I'm just putting him there because I know people will probably mention them or ask why I've not included them against Albania. There's high risk, high reward there in that Albania game because of the minutes risks. Stanchu there for Romania. Slovakia are at home for the man on free kicks. I think Marin might be on penalties, but if Marin isn't on the pitch, then Stanchu is on penalties as well. Really good start to the tournament. Should play full 90 minutes. Great fixture. The team are doing really well. I just worry for the strength of the team because, when it's a weaker team, there's always the chance to just get pumped or just don't turn up. But if you need a cheapo, he's definitely my cheapo recommendation there, and he'll have the minutes. But don't expect much from him. He's just an enabler for the rest of your funds. Last one on the list is Florian Wirtz, who still remains on the list despite his horrible turnout in matchday 2 in terms of point scoring at least. Switzerland for the German side. Again, we'll see the lineup, hence why he's still in the list. If he's not in the list, definitely get rid of him, ship him straight away. Even if he is starting, I don't know if I would transfer him in, but he's an interesting pick still to retain. With Germany being through and him already coming off in, I think, 6 of the past 6 games, I just don't fancy the pick that much. I think I had a few comments last video asking about Musiala and why I don't recommend him, and I know he's the top point scorer right now. The issue with him is he's 8.5 million, and would you rather have a 90-minute De Bruyne or 90-minute Fernandes around about the same price, or a Musiala who's less threatening historically? He's just not as good a player of those two players, and will get hooked early. He might not even start coming up. I do think there's a massive chance that both Wirtz and Musiala don't start, and that Sané gets a run out, and he gives some other players some run out up front. So that's why Musiala doesn't make the list. But if you have him, definitely retain him and see if he is playing. If he's not, obviously transfer him out because he'll give you a lot of funds. But Musiala is viable. If you want to go Musiala, go for it. On to the strikers, and this list has also changed and looks very different. As you can see, the only key strikers for me this week, actually, to be honest with you, the only key striker alone is just Romelu Lukaku. But if you have Kane, you should probably keep him. Romelu Lukaku, he should be the top point scorer in the game right now. He's had 3 disallowed goals, and he could have had more. It's just, he's been very, very, very unlucky. I know he's not the most dynamic player to watch, but his general play is quite effective, even though it doesn't look, it doesn't look like prime R9. But Romelu Lukaku against Ukraine at home, whose defense don't look good. Ukraine at home, just Ukraine. There's just nothing not to like about this pick. He's arguably, in some of the other fantasy type games outside of UEFA, one of the best captaincy picks this week. Just have him in your team and don't worry about him. Harry Kane. My annoyance with Kane as well recently has been that he's also not even getting the 90 minutes, in addition to Southgate being so negative. He's on penalties and he might be on some free kicks, and it's Harry Kane, right? He only needs a chance. 2 chances, 2 goals. He can be that sort of player. My issue is the manager. Again, I said it last 2 videos. My issue is the manager, not the player, and not the players collectively. It's the manager and the setup he goes with. Very defensive. I would retain Kane if you have to. If I was on unlimited, I would have him. But if I was punting, I probably wouldn't go with him. Next up is Mbappe, which is a punt this week, because if I have to go on a limb and say what I think will happen without any news right now, I don't think Mbappe will start. I think he'll be on the bench, and I think if they need him, he'll play, but if not, they'll just rest him for the knockouts, with his nose being broken. But he is an interesting sort of unlimited pick. I don't think he'll start, so I wouldn't personally pick him. I've just put him here because we have to consider him. It's Kylian Mbappe. One of the best players in the world, if not. Yeah, so. Next up, we have all the rotation fellas. We have the 2 German strikers. We have the Gap and Kai Havertz. The Gap, Fulkrug. Really, really effective and good throwback player. If he's starting, incredibly good pick. I think if he's starting, you really should consider him. But the same goes for Kai Havertz. I think if you had Kai Havertz last week, you were unlucky. But yeah, if one of these is starting, have them in. If neither of them starting or one of them doesn't start, obviously don't have them and transfer them out. Ronaldo drops down in the list because Portugal are through. And will they want to rest Ronaldo? Possibly. I think they might. And there's so much forward talent on the Portugal bench. I think they could do that. So I do worry for his minutes. There's also every chance that he just starts because he'll say to the manager, look, I want to play. I set up an assist in Matchday 2. I want to score some goals against Georgia. So, yeah, he's a potentially a retainable player, but I don't know if he's a transfer in. He's actually quite a high-risk player this week, but with a very high ceiling against Georgia. It could easily be the top point scorer this week. And then we have the young fella for Spain, Lamar. Again, very low minutes expectations already before they got through, and now they are through. Easily, he could be rotating and not get any minutes or get 10 minutes. So he's a huge risk. I personally wouldn't, but I know he's a popular pick, especially amongst Gen Z. So he's in there to show you the stats, but those are my thoughts on him. If he starts against Albania, one of the best picks this game week. If he doesn't start, obviously it's an awful, awful pick. Let's get Thuram out of the way. So Thuram for France. I've been eyeing him up as a pick, but it's just not come. Luckily, I haven't put him in any of my fan teams or in my UEFA team. But Thuram, he's just there to show you that he does have the quality, and they do have Poland and need to win. But this France team are very negative. It's just a very, very similar version of play to England. So he's there if you want him. I wouldn't, but he's there. A player who is very interesting is Varga for Hungary. Look at that XG per 90 stat, 1.41. I think he had 20 goals in 24 games last season for his club. And he has Scotland, one of the worst defensive sides in the tournament, at 6 million. He's a very, very interesting pick. Yeah, very, very interesting pick. I'm eyeing him up if I need to make a forward transfer if Havertz isn't playing personally. The last player here is someone who in the fan team version of the game is one of the cheapest players in the game. He's 4.5 million mid, but in this he's a 5.5 million striker. Is Schranz for Slovakia. He has Romania at home. I keep saying at home. He has Romania. Again, really good fixture. He scored 2 in 2. Very attacking player. He might not get 90 minutes is my only little risk here. But yeah, as you can see, it's really difficult to pick 3 strong attackers and 4 strong midfielders. It really is up to you. Hence why I've given you all the picks here. And I'll go through my conclusive thoughts here as well before we go to my final thoughts. In goal, I think Pickford and Mignolet are your prime picks. If you need to save a bit of money, Casteels and Verbruggen. If you've got Costa, keep him. Nita is fine. The other two, I think, might concede. Hernandez, Dumfries, your prime picks for attacking returns. They should keep a clean sheet, but we'll see. They're against decent sides. Gay, Koundé, Fass, playing for very defensive or strongly defensive sides against not so fantastic sides and need to win. Middlestat, Tar, Cucurella, Carvajal, Cancelo. Big rotation risks. It's up to you. And then Hansko, Ratia, and Hranak. Your cheapers if you need one. Midfield, this is where it gets tough. De Bruyne and Szoboszlai prime picks. Fernandez another prime pick, but his team are through. Gundogan might even get rested. Eriksen, McTominay should play, but not for the best teams. Pedri, Williams, huge rotation risks, but the easiest fixture of the week. Stancio against Slovakia, decent. Wirtz, we'll see if he starts. And then up front, we just discussed these, so I'm not going to go through these again, but pick 3 of your favourites. Lukaku should be in there, though. My final thoughts then, lads, for the match day 3. It is the last fixture before we get unlimited transfers for match day 4. Okay, so what I would say is it doesn't matter too much if you go for a high risk pick. Hence, you know, I'm saying punts at the bottom there are fine. What I would say is punts are okay, but go for punts who you expect a lot of minutes from or who have very easy fixtures, one of the two, if you're going for a punt and not a safe pick. Do not wildcard this week. Please don't wildcard this week. It's silly because we effectively have a wildcard next week. So don't do that. Limitless is viable, though, if your team's looking a mess. It might sound obvious, but a lot of people needed this reinforcing. Pick from strong teams who need to win. And those teams are England, Belgium, and France. England and France, some great defensive assets, plus Kane and Mbappe. Mbappe might not play, though. Rabiot is also an outside pick for France, the same with Thuram. Bellingham, I suppose, for England or Saka, but I wouldn't. Too expensive, too defensive, too negative. Belgium, loads of picks across all positions for them. Avoid the rotation worries from qualified teams. Spain and Portugal, we won't see the lineup, and there'll probably be heavy rotation. Germany, we will see the lineup, and there probably will be heavy rotation, hence why there's an asterisk there. If you do pick rotation risks from those teams, it's at your risk, I've warned you. But it's also high risk, high reward, right? Especially for Spain against Albania and Portugal against Georgia, because it's 2 of the strongest teams in the tournament against 2 of the weakest, but huge rotation risk. That's it from me for this week. We've kept it under 30 minutes, which is pretty good. There's a chance I might put the next video out earlier. I don't know. I keep putting them out as soon as the last game finishes to benefit you guys, but it means that there's only like a 15-hour viewership window. So I don't know if anyone has any feedback on that, but I'm welcome to take it. I can put earlier videos out and just give, you know, warnings on things could happen that based upon games not happening yet, right? Yeah, if you want to buy me a little something as usual, throne.com/speardrops. Subscribe and turn your notifications on if you enjoy my videos. We're doing FPL videos for the upcoming season 2. Twitch.tv/speardrops for when I do stream. And I'm also on Twitter at speardrops. Good luck to you for match day 3. I think it's been a really nice match day 1 and 2. A lot of unlucky things happening in match day 1, but match day 2 was kind of more fruitful, I would say, for a lot of the picks coming in. And also, shout outs to everyone who backed me with the Baumgartner captaincy pick. It came through, eh? Good luck to you. See you for match day 4 when we have unlimited transfers. So maybe I do a bumper video for that. But feel free to put comments, feedbacks, likes, shares. They all really help me out and really help the channel out. And your feedback helps me mold the videos to make it a better content for you to consume as well. Good luck. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.